Okay, today we're going to learn the halachas of rice in Pesach. So the way that the world knows it, that Ashkenazim don't eat rice on Pesach, Sephardim eat rice on Pesach. However, let's see where it started and why those minhagim. So the Emma says it definitely started after the time of the Gemara, because in the Gemara it's not even a trace of any problem with the rice on Pesach. There is one opinion in a Braise from Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri that he holds that the rice it's a real chametz, and then that's a Gemara. It's three Gemaras really. One of them is in Brochus. In Brochus Daf Lamed Zayin, the Gemara brings a Braise over there. The Tanya Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer Oires min dogon hu. He holds that the oil that's like grain, like the 5 grains. V'chayovin al chimutzoi kores. And if somebody eats rice, it become chametz. If you eat rice, it becomes chametz. V'odom yoytza bo yedechavos b'pesach. If you want to make a matzah out of it, you could make a matzah. Make sure it doesn't become chametz. You can make a matzah. Avol rabbanon loy. According to rabbanon, no. And that's the halacha, as we're going to see in Maseches Pesachim also. Daf Kuf Yudalat Amud Beis. We'll see over there that Rav Ashi Paskin. That's how all the poskim. There's less man the palig that mida rice. There is no chashash. Rice is not chametz. So we're going to see why people don't eat the rice. Some people. So here's the more than that. Not only it's not chametz, we see the Amoraim used to have a tafshil, a dish made out of rice on Pesach. Here's what the Gemara says: Imken my mitzvahs. My mitzvah, my shnei tafshilin, or Rav Huna, silke va'aroiza. They used to bring, one of the dishes was oires, rice, in Pesach. Don't give it in Pesach. The Gemara says, Rava have a mihader as silke va'aroiza. Rava was mihader, one of the dishes should be oires, rice, on Pesach. The Gemara says, Oyil v'novim put the Rav Huna. Rav Huna said that, so he was mihader to have that. Omar Rav Ashi, Shmamino, that's Rav Ashi, is the author of the Bavli, and he's the Achron, and he paskan. Amar Rav Ashi, Shmamino, the Rav Huna, from the Rav Huna we learn less the chayish lahod Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Nobody even has a chashash to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. That's Tanya Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer Oires min doganu v'chayom v'chimutza kores v'odom yetzav v'chivos b'Pesach. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri held that oires could become a real chametz. You can make matzah out of it, because you can make matzah only from the things that could become a chametz, and you guard it from becoming chametz. So according to him, oiret it's a real chametz, but Rav Ashi says paskan leis man de chayishla. Nobody even as chashash. There's no chashash. 100% lekula alma psak halacha. Oiret is not chametz. Okay, so why some communities don't eat oiret? So here's what the Tur says. V'yesh osrim in Tov Nun Gimel in Rechaim. V'yesh osrim le'echol oirez v'chol mina kitniyos b'tafshil. Some people don't eat oirez or any other kitniyos. We're gonna have a list of kitniyos in a minute. I'm gonna show you which list more or less. I mean, there's a lot more than a bigger list than I prepared over here. And he says lefi sheminei chitin misarvin bohem, because one of the reasons, the first reason we're bringing over here, the reason they didn't eat the rice, because it was a chashash, maybe in that rice will be mixed some kind of grain that could become chametz. And he ends like this. That's how the Tur concludes. The chumra yeseirehi, that's a chumra that no need for it, that chumra, he says, looks like the Tur, even though he was Ashkenazi, he didn't have the minhag of not eating rice. He did eat rice, like in the Gemara. So Rav Huna, the Rava, they ate rice in Pesach. However, but he brings, there is such a minhag, he says, because they were afraid maybe in the rice will be mixed some minadogon, one of the 5 grains that could become chametz. Now, before I bring other opinions of it, I just want to say the minei kitniyos are as follows. Again, it's not limited to it. It's a bigger list. One of them is rice. One of them is corn. One of them is mustard. That's all based on the poskim, the noise kelim over here. And lentils, green beans and more. There's whole list. Some things today, the poskim ha'achronim argue. One of them they argue if it's called kitniyos or not, would be quinoa. Okay, but I'm not going to the list now. Whatever it is, the minhag hamokim, the whole that's if it's kitniyos, that some people don't eat, some eat. Okay, the Bes Yosef he brings over here like this. V'yesh osrin le'echol oires v'chol min kitniyos. That's what the Tur we just read. V'chumrei yisera yizu. The Tur, like I said, he says chumrei yisera. Like I said, the Tur didn't have this minhag. He ate rice on Pesach. Gam Rabbeinu Yerucham kosav oisam. Gavril kosav oisam shon agosh lo le'echol oires. U'min kitniyos mevushal b'Pesach. Rabbeinu Yerucham writes those which had the minhag not to eat rice on Pesach. Minhag shtusu. It's a minhag shtus. He didn't help on this minhag. He says, then he adds like this: Zulosi imem oisim lahachmir al atzmam, unless they do mitzat chumra v'le'adati lama atkan l'shayna. It says like this. I want to explain him what he's saying over here. L'chayra, I don't understand what he's saying. First, he's saying it's a minhag shtus, not to eat rice on Pesach. Then he says, unless you do l'chumra. So if you machmir, then you could do minhag shtus. The pshat is like this. That's very, the poskim really, you see when you go through it, a lot of them talk about it. If you think oires is osur, that's why you're not eating it, because you choshesh the shita of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, that's minhag shtus. Because it was Psak Achra and Rav Ashi, and everybody, Rav Huna, Rava, Rav Ashi, the old paskin, rice is not chametz. We're not paskin Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. If somebody going to come and says, I saw a shita in Brisa, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says it's chametz, that's why I'm not eating it, that's minhag shtus. You cannot just find one opinion and follow it according to the rules and regulations of Psak Halacha. We're not passing Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. However, he says, if you do mitzat chumra, like one of them, like the Tur brought, maybe there is mixed into the rice some other grains, then you're afraid you're doing mitzat not because that you hold it oires also. No, you're not holding it also. Then it's not shtus. But he says, he says, I don't know, why do you need to do that? You don't have to choshesh. Maybe there's a grain over there. Okay, so that's Rabbeinu Yerucham. So we see again, according to the Tur, so far we see he did not care for this minhag. Rabbeinu Yerucham did not care for this minhag. Then he brings like this: U'ba'agoyes Maimonides brought b'shem smak ala kitniyos kagon pulim v'adoshim. Besides the rice we mentioned here, you see over here, it's also lentils. Yesh noyagim isur l'ochlom b'Pesach. V'chen harav Rabbeinu Shmuel me'avira. He was machmir not to eat any kitniyos, not only rice. Aval Rabbeinu Yechiel v'shar gedolim ha'yenogim be'em heter. V'kosher me'oid adover lahatir, all this from Hagoyes Maimonides, from the smak, b'shem the smak, kivan she'acherim nogu be'em isur. If there is people knowing isur, says don't be matir, that's minhag. V'nira shelo nogu be'isur mishum chimutz. It's not because it might come to chimut. That's what I said, B'Shem Rabbeinu Yerucham. That would be shtus to do that. Says the lotoi in Shabbazeh. Nobody gonna think, he says, that the rice could become chumut. The tinoke shel besrabon yodim oisai. Even the little kids in the cheder, they know that rice cannot become chumut. That's not because of that. The Ferusham Gemara, the enobolida chimut. Elohei minim bilvad. Only thing could become chumut is the 5 grains. The dogon ma'isa kedera. Now we see another reason of even the smak why people didn't eat rice in some communities, because it says the dogon ma'isa kedera. You could make out of the grains some kind of dishes. The kitniyos ma'isa kedera. You could make some dishes out of rice or other kitniyos. Gezeira, it says ho to ho. So make a gezeira, because if people are going to see you making a rice dish, they're going to say, oh, if you're allowed to eat a rice dish, I'm going to make some kind of dish out of other grains. People should not come to be confused. That's why they asked the rice. It's a second reason. One reason, because maybe in the rice, that's what the Tur brought. Maybe there is mixed over there some grains. The second reason, even let's say for sure you checked good and there's no rice over there, or in this area some fields maybe were next to the field of rice and grain together, but let's say your rice is clean, there's no problem. still people are going to see you doing a dish rice. They might make a rice out of the 5 grains. That's why they asked that. And another reason, v'gam ish mekom ish oisim pas kitniyos v'oser lichlufa b'daisa shu ma'isa kedeira. Some people today also, you could make bread out of gluten-free bread made out of other flours, rice, and other kitniyos, corn. So mainly people can think, if you eat this, if you could eat bread made out of rice or corn, why can't I eat a dish made out of grain, dice, farina? Yeah. Oh, aval minna yerokes the ladomi ledogon klal also lichlufus. Again, we're saying that when they asked, whoever asked, the union of kitniyos was only thing that looks or could make a mistake with grains, but it says other vegetables that there's no chashash, you might make a mistake between them and chametz. It says there's no isur over there. And I saw in a sefer, I forgot already where I saw this. There's a mazel that in time when they answered the kitniyos, they did not know about potatoes. The potatoes came later, a few hundred years ago, way later, when the gezerah of kitniyos was, because if potatoes would be there, they probably would aser potatoes too. Then we would not have much to eat on Pesach. So as mazel, they didn't have then potatoes in that time when they had the kitniyos. Anyway, akoponim, so they didn't aser vegetable, they didn't aser the potatoes. Then he mentioned about the chardal, that's the mustard I already mentioned. Then the Bishop concludes. And nobody carries us for what we just mentioned now from the Agos Maimonim with Shem the Smak, all this chumras and the kitniyos. Zulose Ashkenazim. Only he says the Ashkenazim took this chumra. The Sfardim did not take this chumra. Okay. So first of all, that's how it's known, like I said, in the world. However, it's nicht azoi poshut what the B'Siyosef writes, because Kaf HaChaim mentioned many Sfardische poskim that they took this chumrah too. No, I'm going to bring them now a little bit. It brings like this. Who took this chumrah? It says like this: Yeresh Shamayim lo yoichal oirez. So first of all, some community they did not take all the kitniyos, only rice, even in Sephardic communities. Say Yerushalayim lo yechal oirez me'achar shenispashet isuroi bekama kilos. This is from Shara Yeshua and from Birkei Yosef. So the Sephardic poskim. So they say v'chen nahagu shleimim v'chen rabim. So it looks like in some Sephardic communities also took they took only rice so far, and we're going to see now also the Pri Chodesh, which is also a Sephardic posek. Amar Pri Chodesh kosav smach leminag me'ashas. He brought even that minag from the shas le'eser v'siyam v'zol hashem le'viresh litfos le'eser kol midei the domi le'dogon. So he says the Pri Chodesh we should aser take anything that looks could be confused with the 5 grains. Mishum demichlev lo bedogan. They could think if I'm allowed to eat kitniyos, I'm allowed to eat other 5 grains. But when he says this, aval en ken minogenu asfardim zelosi beoires. He says, the Pri Chodesh says that the people took this minhag. He says that's not our minhag of the Sfardim. Only it says rice. They do have a minhag, the Pri Chodesh right, not to eat rice on Pesach. Why? What's the difference? Shoshona achas achar shenidak sholosh pamim yofe. 1 year they check the rice 3 times to make sure there's no other grains over there. V'nimtza b'garin chita. And they found after the 3 times checking the rice, they find a little grain over there. Since that time, the Pri Chodesh would eat rice. So you see over here, the Birkei Yosef, the Pri Chodesh, all the Sephardic poskim, and the Shara Yeshua, the all right that they did not eat rice on Pesach. That what? That's what? That's what?
Because you're maybe there's a dog on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
again, all whoever don't eat also because of chashoshes, not because they think it's.
Not because they because there might.
Might be that's what the tour brought. That's the reason of the tour. You might sneak over there some kind of grain out of the 5 grains. Then he says like this. maybe
maybe
the fields were next to each other. Maybe they work in the factory or the places they pack them. Maybe they pack both of them 5 grains and the rice. How the Metzius, I don't know, but there was such a chashash. It was based on something, that chashash. Then he brings like this. וכן כוסף הגויין חידו בספר טוב עין, da אנחנו בני ספרד אין נויגים במניעס כקיטנiyos, they do eat kitniyos, אומנם באוירס נוהגו בעיר הקודש ירושלים מרביס התלמידי חכמים ויראי השם שלא לאוכלו בפסח. שהעידו דעה ועובדה שביררו האוירס כמה פעמים, they checked the rice many times, ושוב אחר שבשלו נמצא חיטה. After they cooked, there was a chiddush. It is, but in 2 different sforim mentioned. You're right. It is the chiddush mentioned this twice. If you see people that eat the rice, talking about the Sephardic community, you don't rebuke them. Then he writes from Sefer Pekudas Elazar, because of the Achshav Nagim Gam Asfardim Yerushalayim le'eser kitniyos b'Pesach. Again, so you see from here, it wasn't so poshut that it wasn't so poshut that only Ashkenazim did not eat rice. Many Sfardische poskim and Sfardische communities took upon themselves not to eat rice. Now, so that's after we brought the Tuminogim. Definitely that's not chametz rice l'kula alma. It's only we don't eat it with a chashash. You might come to eat chametz for whatever reason, or might mix it with chametz. With different different reasons. Now, I just want to mention now. Some people might think, okay, since it's only gezeira, they might have some leniencies. So the Halachah Shiur brings up here from the Maharil very, very strong words about eating rice, and the kehillas that were they not eating rice and they breaking the rule and eating the rice. It says like this. Ubekuntres toiv ein la'agoyen azulai. That's the grandfather of the Chidah. B'soif sefer v'alachem sham kosov. The be'ashkenaz u'poilim shekibul alam ze kam moed shonim. Chumra zu k'tzat g'doi Israel. He talks about the Ashkenazim, took this chumra. And lahok elohim. He writes for the Ashkenazim. Says there should not be mezalzel in this minhag. Va'amekel u'poiretz geder. Whoever is mekel, it's poiretz geder. V'doidi agon b'tshuva kisviyat kosav shamin shekorim b'mitzanu. It brings the pasulish different poshot shum and kitniyos, yeah, yeah. Then he goes, v'ayan v'lukuta maharil. Achar shivi amina galas kosav ha'oichlim b'pesach. Whoever eats, we're talking about the community that took upon themselves not to eat the rice. Ha'oichlim b'pesach oiver belav deloy sosur. If you're not listening to Chachamim, it's lav d'oraisa become. After they made the minhag, the Chachamim who said not to eat it in their communities, it's become lav d'oraisa. Lo sosum ma'asher yigiduch yamin lo small, yeah? V'cholo oiver al divrei Chachamim chayav misa. Look at this lashon. So that's a very, very sharp lashon. It's not, it's only a minhag, I could find links. No, kol odichem chayav misa, he said. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we again clarifying. There's no isur chametz at all eating rice. However, we're answering it in some communities, Ashkenazim and some Sephardi communities, answering it because you might come to chashash of eating chametz. Now there is another shaila. I'm just going to give you a heads up. I'm not going to do it today. What to do in some communities? We have mixed communities. Some Ashkenazim, some Sephardim. How you do it? Could you say the minhag hamokim so and so? So Memele, even somebody can say I'm Sephardi, you cannot eat. So all this halachas, what you do with minhag hamokim, we'll learn about the next shiur. Okay, shkoyah.